Hi, my name is Brendan, and I'm here to talk to you about the Christmas 2008 Canadian parliamentary crisis, the untold story. That Canadian 2008 Christmas parliamentary crisis has had a profound and long-lasting effect on Canadian politics due to its effects on the 2008 Quebec provincial election and its after effects, the federal scene in Quebec, and the federal scene across Canada. On November 27, 2008, Stephen Harper launched Canada into a constitutional crisis when he authorized his finance minister, Jim Flaherty, to give a bizarre and overly optimistic economic statement that was also overly partisan. This economic statement proposed to cripple the opposition parties by permanently ending all public party financing, and also it contained very little actual economic stimulus, made the unrealistic suggestion that Canada would stay in surplus for years to come, and in addition, almost completely denied that Canada was in a recession to begin with, or was ever going to be in a recession. It is possible that the official opposition, the Liberal Party, may have been able to swallow an overly optimistic economic statement with very little stimulus, on the assumption that real stimulus would come in the Conservatives' promised January budget. However, when the proposal was to cut off all permanently all public financing of all parties, the Liberals could not support the economic statement as a result, because that would cripple the opposition Liberal Party financially. Because having an election after only 2 months was not feasible, the Liberals entered into a coalition agreement with the Bloc Québécois and the NDP. The Liberals also maintained that they could not support the economic statement, not only due to the Conservative red meat of cutting party subsidies, attacking women's pay equity, and suspending the right of public servants to strike. They insisted that it wasn't their only those things, and they also insisted that it was the lack of economic stimulus. However, my view remains that without those extra partisan items, it may have been able to pass. But finally, a coalition agreement was entered into with the three opposition parties on December 1st. But even before then, back on the 27th, Canada was already in a full-blown parliamentary crisis. I am here to talk about this parliamentary crisis and its effects, and I will start with talking about Stephen Harper's anti-coalition rhetoric. In opposition to this proposed coalition, Harper attacked the fact that the Bloc Québécois would be playing a part in this coalition, and so he attacked the proposed coalition as a separatist coalition. Polls have shown that the average Quebecer felt offended and insulted by Harper's separatist coalition rhetoric. This was true of both sovereignist-leaning voters and federalist-leaning voters. Sovereignist-leaning voters felt offended that their point of view was being attacked in a derogatory way. Federalist-leaning voters felt offended because they believed that the Bloc Québécois had a legitimate role to play in any possible coalition. Thus, Harper's anti-coalition rhetoric caused Conservative support in Quebec to drop. But his anti-coalition rhetoric also, as a result of his insulting phrase, separatist coalition, rallied support for the Provincial Parti Québécois, who were at the time in the midst of a provincial election campaign. Harper's comment thus ironically backfired and increased support for the PQ by 5% and made the PQ finish much closer to the Quebec Liberals than expected. In fact, the PQ got a higher percentage of the popular vote than the 2003 provincial election and also got a higher number of seats than the 2003 provincial election. This strong showing allowed PQ leader Pauline Marois to stay on. If the PQ had lost badly, as was expected right up until the parliamentary crisis, there was a strong possibility that Marois would have resigned the PQ leadership, just like her predecessor, André Beauclair, did after he lost badly in the 2007 election. Instead, that strong showing allowed Marois to stay on, and this changed the course of what history likely may have been otherwise, because there is a strong possibility that in the event of a Marois resignation, Federal Bloc Québécois leader Gilles Duceppe would have run for the leadership of the PQ based on the assumption that he could not possibly turn down a run at the PQ leadership for a third time in a row. However, that strong showing prevented Duceppe from running for the PQ leadership. You see, the Federal Bloc Québécois leader, Gilles Duceppe, would likely have yet again been under pressure to run for the PQ leadership had Marois resigned. And thus a Marois resignation in such an alternate situation would likely have set the stage for Bloc leader Gilles Duceppe to leave Ottawa and to run for the Parti Québécois leadership due to the concept that he couldn't possibly turn down running for the PQ leadership for a third straight time. Duceppe's departure from Ottawa would have had a significant and long-lasting effect on federal politics due to Duceppe's popularity as leader of the BQ that would have been lost for them had he left to run provincially.